Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest installment of What the WTF. I am so happy to see you all. Hey, Kenny. Hey, Gary. Hey, Yogi. How is everybody today? It's so interesting. Um, Gosh, there's just so many thoughts. So let me get my notes so that I can try and stay focused. Um, the notes are really just more of a guardrail than anything else, just to make sure I don't go um, completely off track. Hey, Sarah. Uh, there's just so much. One of the things I was very aware of this morning. First of all, I want to continue to offer my sincere, deep, and profound gratitude for so much. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Meredith. Hey, Elle. Um, Okay, there's so much. The responses that I have been receiving from you, either in the comment section, in the chat here, also emails that I've been receiving from so many of you. My goodness, thank you. Hi, friends. Lovely to see you, Diana, Matt, Demi. I'm in the same boat, Demi. I don't know what I'm excited about, but I'm just excited, and that's enough. I just sent out my newsletter this morning saying, for the first time in so long, I'm having fun, I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to it. That's all I need right now. That's all I need. But the support that I'm receiving from all of you, the emails, the messages, the thumbs up, the way to go, the subscribes, the likes, the shares, the donations, the financial support, like all of it, I want you to know how much it means to me, how these past few days have really been shaking me in the best possible way. I think sometimes it feels like spirit is picking us by the ankles and just shaking us upside down to see what falls out. Hey, Bliss. Um, and sometimes that feels like excruciating and horrible and awful. And sometimes, hey, Grit, nice to see you again. Sometimes it feels exciting and wonderful. You know how, like, when you're a little kid and your parents like do airplane and throw you up in the air and swing you around and they catch you and you're safe, and that's how it feels. I know that I am held. I know that I am guided, and I know that I am supported. And sometimes it's really easy to forget that. But I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, from my toes, from the deepest parts of self. Thank you. I don't know if you understand how much it means to me. I don't think I even really fully understand how much this means to me, to all of us, to just have these spaces where we can connect and be present, be honest, be in our authenticity, and just be in that moment. What I'm very aware of today is the old voice of, you have to provide, you have to perform, you have to entertain, you have to show up with something to offer. And what's interesting there is the implication in that belief that I have to have something to offer is that I, in and of myself, am not enough. And to sit with that belief that is clearly not consciously registering, but is present and active nonetheless, reminds me of one of the notes in Notes from the Higher Self, my book available on Amazon. Thank you, Meredith. I agree. Is that, um, sorry, just lost my train of thought. But this idea, so when pain is present, we create from there first, right? So even though we may consciously be moving in a specific direction and may not be aware of the unconscious kind of brewings that are, just waiting in the wings to limit us or put us back into the old, purview of history. And I see that, I know that. And to be living my own medicine right now is really humbling and exciting. But that, Meredith, your point in the chat when you said you are the offering, it's so funny because this is something that I say to people all of the time. And especially when I'm working with entrepreneurs or new practitioners who are just starting to build their business and start to create their offerings and extend themselves in service. It's what I tell them all the time. You are the medicine. You are the flavor. You are the spice. Yes, spirit is the light in the light bulb, right? Without the light, without the electricity and the juice of spirit, there's no point to having the light bulb. It's useless without the charge, without the energy. Not to imply that we're useless without spirit, but you get what I'm saying. That you are the medicine. And this is what I know about myself. All I have to do is walk into the room and my energy does the work. But yes, Bliss, it's true. It's this idea that you have to make it into something. You have to monetize it. You have to commodify it. Ugh, no, I don't. That's fucking gross. I don't. Quit trying to make me fucking turn everything into a transaction. But I was thinking about this today. This idea of the old ways, the indoctrination, the programming, and how we receive this very specific, whether it's implied or we're told explicitly this is how life is. We all grow up with this set of ideas, of values, of guiding principles, and whether or not we consciously created them, I would assert that most of us don't consciously create our values and our mission statement. It's something that we, at some point in our life, begin to wake up within the life that we were given, and we begin to dismantle what we were taught, right? Like, is this really true? Do I really believe what I was taught? Do I really believe what I was told? Good, King. I'm glad this helps you to remember to chill, because that's really it, right? So when we haven't taken the time to challenge the operating system that we were given, that almost always comes through family or some sort of institutional, you know, relationship. If we don't question the programs we were given and the truths that we were told, if we don't ever do the work to validate and verify that, is that really true for me? When I apply this idea to my life, does it hold water? Does it wash out? And do I see that, oh, yeah, this actually is true? I think that's just how we lose ourselves. And that's what I've been asking myself. I wrote a newsletter this morning just sharing with people about the series, the What the WTF series, which again, thank you so much for your interest in showing up. And I was saying, I find myself almost 10 years to the day back in the same place that I was when I started the YouTube channel in the first place, which was just like, I just don't know what the hell's going on. So I just need to talk to somebody. And there was this awareness of like, okay, but am I just trying to recreate the past? And I don't think that I am, right? There's familiarity and there's models that we know work, but walking that fine line between what I know works and what has worked in the past, and then also allowing myself to be present for the new, for the expansion, for the recreation of something. And I was thinking about like, what if you traveled from the past? Let's say you lived in a time before there were automobiles and everyone was driving around with horse and buggy, which wasn't that long ago that's how we were getting around. And let's say you travel to the future, where now everyone has a car. First of all, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? But I was just thinking about the absurdity of how we so often try to drag the old historical models into the new experience, the new reality, the new chapter, where the old historical models are not relevant at all. And we try so hard to bring the past into the present. And it would be the same thing if you traveled to the future where everyone had a car and you run around trying to turn every car into a horse and buggy, right? Because from your perspective, the horse and buggy was the pinnacle of technology. This is the best way for humans to get around. And then life goes on and we evolved and we grew and we created the car. And how absurd is it now to walk around to everyone who has a car and say, no, that's not the best way. The best way is the horse and buggy. Okay, we could argue for it, but you get what I'm saying. For the sake of the conversation and the sake of this point, I just find it so interesting that how many times do we do that? We ask for the new, we ask for the liberation, we ask for the new chapter, the reset, the healing, the release, all of that. And then we come to the new moment where it is always brand new. And what do? We just try to fucking drag the past along with us and say, no, the horse and buggy is the pinnacle of technology. Well, yeah, maybe 100 years ago, right? It's the same thing. 10 years ago, the way that I was doing it was the best way for me at the time. It ain't the best way anymore. And when I find myself in nostalgia, when I find myself reflecting back and going, how do I get back there? That is always a sign that I am in the mind. I'm trying to think my way through it. I'm trying to understand it. And for all of us, but really, especially males, have been tasked with this burden of having to figure it out. That is the realm of the masculine, which masculine is not male, but the masculine self, the masculine energy is the decider, it's the chooser, it's the actor, it's the one that makes the choice, that pulls the trigger. And if we're trying to do it historically, it's never going to happen. Number one. Number two, the old masculine model was to do it at the exclusion of the feminine knowing. Why have we been suppressing the feminine and women for so many centuries? Because those who used to be in charge, who stole basically society and the planet, they intentionally were suppressing the feminine. And that creates all sorts of lopsided geometry that we can't find our way out of. And my point here is that the masculine, which often we think of as the man or the male, and we ascribe those masculine attributes to the male. And men have been trying to figure things out at the exclusion of their intuitive, emotional, connected self, at the exclusion of their creator self, or at least half of it. And the frustration and the anger and the depression and the desolation and the sense of helplessness and powerlessness and being ineffective and being ineffectual and being weak. That to me is a side effect of trying to figure out your life without your intuitive knowing self. And I'm just realizing today that that's where I was, right? I was taught, because of my intellect, because I am so sharp, because my parents were both teachers and I was raised in an environment and in a time when being right and educated and correct and learned was very, very important. So from a very young age, I saw very clearly, oh, the number one way to get brownie points, to get blue ribbons and gold stars, and also get what I need, right? Food, water, shelter, and clothing, love, is to think about it, is to be smart, is to be intellectually sharp. All the while never realizing that what I hadn't been taught was to also honor my intuitive, feminine, non-physical, non-intellectual, non-linear, sometimes nonsensical self. And it's one of those things that I find myself back in the place of, oh, duh. Of course I didn't know what to do. I was trying to think my way through it. Of course, I didn't know what to do. I was trying to turn an automobile into a horse and buggy, and I was getting really fucking pissed that it wasn't happening because my historical way is the best way. That's what this program was saying. And then I realized, like, duh, just follow the feminine impulse that says, why don't you just hop on YouTube and connect with people? Why don't you just open yourself and reveal the vulnerability, reveal the frustration? Why don't you just open yourself and realize that who and what you are is enough? You don't have to perform. You don't have to arrive with something. It's not a fucking potluck, girl. You are not required to bring a dish. If you want to bring a dish, great. Then we'll have something to eat, right? But do you feel me? Like, I'm just really in this place where it's like, how do we, Candace, hi friend, how do we lose ourselves? I think we lose ourselves, number one, when we believe things about ourselves that aren't true, which I'm going to be honest with you, 99%, I think, of what we were taught about being a human, especially by institutions, was deliberately untrue. But I think we lose ourselves by trying to be something that we're not. We lose ourselves when we refuse to allow the present moment to show us what is here, and we continue to insist that the old ways, regardless of how effective they are the ways. I think we lose ourselves when we refuse to allow ourselves to evolve, right? You're not going to try to go back to your first grade teacher. You know what I mean? Like once you've graduated and moved beyond, you may say, but my first grade teacher was my favorite teacher ever. I felt comfortable. I felt at home. I felt safe. Awesome. But you're not what 7 years old anymore, right? Like you have to evolve. You have to let life carry you forward. You have to be with yourself because you are always growing and expanding. Hey, Lee, so lovely to see you, friend. So I think part of it is we have to lose ourselves. I think that's part of where we are right now is the old I'm the same Eileen. I become less civilized and sophisticated and domesticated as we go on. But I think we have to lose ourselves. I think that's part of what we are butting up against right now is we're not willing to let go of the old versions of self. Because here's the thing, in order to let go of an old version of self, to really release it, you have to have taken accountability and responsibility for it. And there's so few of us on the planet right now that are willing to stop and turn to the mirror and say, there's the cause of my share of the problems, right? We have been, for centuries, we have been doing it the wrong way. We have been doing it backwards. And the truth is that most of us didn't know we were doing it backwards. We were just given the rule book that was written by some shady motherfuckers. And no one ever told us, hey, you know what? This isn't really true. Well, actually, there were always people telling us that that wasn't true. We just didn't want to listen. So I think that a lot of where we are right now, the frustration and the fear and the anger and the disillusionment and the overwhelm is due to the fact that we are not being honest with ourselves about who we are and what we want. We're trying to make a best case scenario out of a reality that was not created to have a best case scenario, or the best case scenario was created that only a few would be fulfilled and satisfied. It's just astounding to me how easy it can be to lose ourselves. And I think part of it for myself was, when you go through, or when I entered into my healing phase, right? After the initial spiritual awakening, a whole lot of healing begins to happen. And I think I did what most of us do. I just overcorrected, right? Because when you awaken and you begin to realize how you've been sabotaging yourself and in what ways you've been sabotaging yourself, and you come to the truth, which is the hardest pill for everyone to swallow, that it has all come from you, that everything you are experiencing, either firsthand or even peripherally, was a choice on some level. That is one of the hardest things to accept. And then once you're able to manage to choke down that pill, and you do manage to turn your awareness inside and you go, oh, it really is me, that is a massive undertaking. And what often happens is we overcorrect. Oh, I can't do that. That's bad anymore. I can't eat that. That's bad. I can't think that. I can't watch that. I can't listen to that. I can't drink that. I can't smoke that. I can't hang out with those people. I can't read that thing. I can't listen. And so, and a lot of that is healthy. I think that because most of us, again, aren't operating within boundaries and belief structures that we actually had a hand in creating, most of it was just passively going, oh, okay, you're the adult, I'm the child. You say how how the world works. Who am I to question? Right? So at some point we start to question, we start to wake up, and I think we overcorrect. I think in an attempt to find what is true and authentic for us, to find what vibes and is congruent with us. Thank you, Jane. That is so kind. I really appreciate that. I think sometimes we overcorrect. And I've been having the experience lately of recalling parts of myself where I'm like, wow, I really loved that part of me. I'm glad it's still here. I'm glad it's coming back. So, it's like rebalancing. Because, right, if we think of the scales, right, so this is pre-awakening, everything's out of whack, and then we start to kind of come back to balance as we awaken, and then most likely we're going to overcorrect. So now it's wonky on the other side. But at some point, we do find our natural level. We do find the platform and the foundation that we can stand upon that feels natural and authentic, and most importantly, sustainable. And perhaps that's just where we are. Yes, Grit, that's one of my favorite things to share with people, especially when people say, "Oh, you're spiritual, you shouldn't charge for your services." Yeah, well, if I were living in the village several hundred years ago, well, God, even today, I would be as the shaman or the medicine person for the tribe, your job was to be the healer for the tribe. And in return, you didn't have to pay for food. You didn't have to, well, you didn't pay, right? But you didn't work for food. You didn't work for shelter. You were given shelter. You were given food. You were given clothing. You were given a place in the community in response. Wow, thank you, Bliss. So I love 2222. In response to, or in exchange for, your medicine, your gifts. So I digress, but yeah. So that, just put that one in your back pocket. Anyone who is a practitioner, and if anyone ever says, "Oh, you shouldn't charge because you're spiritual," yeah, well, if the tribe took care of me, I wouldn't have to. So suck on that. I digress. So yeah, it's a really, really interesting time, and I think it's about coming back to ourselves, and I think it's also about really fully stepping into the role that we came here to play, and understanding that not everyone is going to vibe with it. Not everyone's going to get it. Not everyone's going to approve. And that's okay. That's okay. Thank God your approval is not required for my well being, because I would have died a long time ago. If the approval of others was something that I needed to thrive and survive, like water, food, shelter, love, and clothing, God. Yes, it's a hater's right to be wrong about you. And you know what, King? I say that all the time. You have every right to hate me. You have every right to judge me. You have every right to misinterpret, misquote. You have every right to lie about me. I don't care. Go for it. Knock yourself the fuck out. So I think it's, finding ourselves again, refusing to swallow the story that we have to earn our well being, that we have to acquire our worthiness, or that to be worthwhile is something that we have to achieve. No, you're worthy because you are, right? If you woke up today in a body and you breathed and you were aware, and like, you are here because spirit wants you to be. That's it. Spirit just said, well, I want to know what it's like to be you. So I'm going to give you a life and a soul and a timeline and a destiny and a path and all of that. Yes, exactly. My beliefs do not require you to exist. I think that's really all I have today. I'm going to ask you, and you can put this in the comment at any time. So if you're watching this live or later on down the line, is there anything that you would like for me to focus on? Are there any areas that you would like me just to discuss or share my thoughts on? Again, I'm not trying to turn this into me having to perform or entertain you. I really, I can do that in my other videos, like my monthly content for, Ascension reports or whatever. But if there's anything that you might find interesting for me to talk about or riff on or whatever, I'm happy to. If I also feel that it's interesting, I'm not making any promises because this is my time to just be. And I don't want to give that away. Being able to accept where we are. Well, Jane, you're in the right place because I am in the process of living that as an example for you all of just allowing things to be what they are right now. I don't necessarily have any predictions, Bliss. I think, I'm going to share tomorrow in my newsletter. I recently did a podcast with my friend Shelley Young from Trinity Esoterics. We've known each other for, gosh, like a decade now. And she has a podcast. She interviewed me for her podcast. And she was talking about, what do you think for 2024? And so this is what I can share. I think 2024 is the year where we are going to see instantaneous responses from the unified field, i.e., life, the world, the universe, whatever you call it, is going to instantaneously reflect to us what is currently active. So for those who are moving with the truth, rooted into the truth, exploring the truth, doing everything that they can to feel their alignment and move from that place, it's going to be a whole lot easier than you would be able to conceive or perceive from your current moment. Those who have not been doing their work, have not been taking accountability and responsibility, those who have not been connecting to themselves and their truth are going to have a really, really, really challenging year. And they're having a challenging year because that's what they wanted. They're having a challenging year because that's what they needed. So we can just say to those who are just now waking up, I feel you. You have my compassion. I'm loving you as I love all beings. And if you need help and support, I'm here, but you walk your path. I can't walk it for you. You just gotta let yourself be, exactly, Meredith, be just present in the moment. Just be here in this moment. And Jane, that is really the answer. How to accept where you are, just be where you are. And I know that sounds like a platitude or a little bit of a cliche, but it really is, okay, I'm here right now in this current moment, in this immediate moment, right here, right now, all is well. All is well. I think that's all I have to share today. So if you think of anything that you would like me to riff on, I'm happy to consider those. But I just think that, Bliss, it's really about, if you believe that life is horrible and awful and miserable and that they're out to get you, you're right. If you believe that life is full of opportunities to connect more deeply and know yourself as the sovereign creator that you are, you're right. If you believe that life is always supporting you, that everything is for you, that everything is from you, and that nothing is your adversary, it's only a teacher, you're right. The only time you wouldn't be right is if you are believing that someone is going to save you. That's never going to happen. It can't happen. We're in a reality that is founded upon free will, or the experience of free will. So no one can save you. No one can save you. Not a president, none of them. Not a federation, not a human federation, not a galactic federation, not an inner earth federation. They can't save you. An angel can't save you. A mothership can't save you. Your neighbor can't save you. Your priest, your minister, your mom, nobody, nothing can save you. You are here to save you. You are here to illustrate and exemplify what it looks like to be one who has remembered how they save themselves. And yeah, I know, no Spock either. And if you want to save the world, you save yourself and then you share with everybody how you did it. No, your modes, your methods won't necessarily work for them, right? My keys can't unlock your door, but my keys can give you a model for where to begin. My keys can give you some reminders of perhaps where your keys are. but nobody is going to save you. That's not the point. That is antithetical to the whole point of this chapter in the history of creation. Yeah, I feel the same, Melissa. It's like you're just walking around. It's funny that you say that, because what I've been thinking a lot about is how, how when you rearrange the furniture in your house and suddenly like everything is new again, and you're like, ooh, it's a new house, it's new furniture. And you don't, it's like you get out of that automatic mode where you just sort of walk through the house half asleep. And now all of a sudden everything, yeah, definitely not Trudeau. And everything, is suddenly like, oh, that's kind of where we are. It's like, I think we're being given an opportunity through these rapid shifts. And because the stage set that we're currently standing on is so fluid, because the matrix is collapsing, right? The more of us that withdraw our energetic support of the matrix, the faster it collapses. Because, like I've been saying, you are the matrix. The matrix needs one thing for it to exist: your belief. And once you withdraw your belief, you collapse your matrix within you, and then you're no longer resonant with the matrix. But as we divorce ourselves from that, we're having to be conscious. I think spirit is doing everything it can right now to ensure that we don't go back to sleep. So the fact that there is no, we're not here to save the world, Dixon. We're here to save ourselves and tell everyone how to do it. The world doesn't need saving. We do. But, if you're not, I lost my point. Okay. That's it. That's all I needed to say. Yeah, let it go. Oh, right. The furniture. Yeah. So we're being given every opportunity to not go back to sleep. Things are moving so rapidly, I think by design, so that we don't have a chance to fall back into some sort of unconscious routine. We're being given an opportunity to remember that, oh, it's only the moment. You are the one that creates time. I am the one that creates time. Time doesn't exist. So whatever experience you are having of it is perpetuated by your state of being. So when we just let it all drop and just be in the moment and say, Spirit, I'm here, and whatever you need from me, I'm ready to receive and proceed. And until then, I'm here. I'm here. So you just got to let it go. You got to trust that you are co-creating all of the time, that you are not in this alone. Yeah, we are that powerful. We are so powerful that we can even create experiences of lack. Ugh, these fungus gnats are driving me crazy. I just repotted some of my plants the other day, and there's like an infestation in here. Okay, love you guys. Same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. Mountain, here on YouTube. Love you. Thank you. Links are in the description below. If you like making a donation, it's there. Instagram is Amar Energy. You can follow me there if you want. Sign up for my newsletter. Love y'all. See you soon. Have a great Friday, everybody. Oh, like, share, and subscribe.